Hello, guys, and welcome to Sports Bet Daily. It is Tuesday, the 9th here, and I'm going to introduce. We've got an action-packed hour. Actually, we've got the Indian Premier League, we've got darts, we've got snooker, we've got golf, and we have got NHL Playoffs. But we're going to start now with cricket, with the 2019 IPL update with Ed Hawkins. Hello, Ed. How are you doing?
Good, thanks, Natalie. I'm still going. I'm still tuning into every single game, and it remains as chaotic as ever and as unpredictable as ever. But we're chipping away with some winners, concentrating on top back markets because we think that's where the value lies. We had a nice winner on David Warner on Tuesday, Monday, and looking forward to this Mumbai Indians, the Kings 11 game, which is coming up tomorrow.
Yes. Obviously, Chennai have just wrapped up their match 23 game. How are they looking at the moment? They're looking pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're still looking really strong. They had that slip up against Mumbai Indians where they basically didn't actually seem that interested in winning the game after losing momentum towards the end of their bowling innings when Mumbai Indians really got hold of them. And I think they basically just had a bit of a sulk, so they didn't put too much effort into their chase. But they're back on song again. They've beaten Kolkata Knight Riders today, and that was considered a bit of a blockbuster encounter because Kolkata were the top of the table and have been looking really, really strong themselves. And of course, they included Andre Russell in their team, who's been the absolute superstar of this IPL, and barring injury, will almost certainly win Player of the Tournament because he just can't put a foot wrong. He's actually taken hitting to a new level, sort of the likes we've not seen before. But he couldn't do it for Kolkata today. Spin was what won it today for Chennai, and we were talking about that in our preview on the site. And Kolkata just got into a terrible muddle early on against some spin from Harbhajan and some decent line and length bowling from Deepak Chahar, and they couldn't post anything which was going to test Chennai, and Chennai really strolled to the win, and they're almost certain to make the playoffs now as we're coming up to the halfway point, the half time, if you like, of the IPL league season with teams coming up to the 7-game mark, and they look just so strong. We would expect them to make the final, really, because they're so experienced. They've got good balance to their squad, and they've overcome some injuries themselves in a short space of time. So they're looking very, very good.
Yeah, they certainly are. And then obviously Wednesday's match here that you sort of briefly breathed on, Mumbai Indians versus Kings Punjab. Again, Mumbai Indians 1.73 to win. I know you like to wait till the coin toss, but do you have any thoughts on the match?
Yeah, I do like to wait for the coin toss. I mean, this is going to be at Mumbai's home ground, and it's a bit of a chasing ground, and Mumbai are a chasing team. So that is playing on my mind a little bit. I think Mumbai could well go well in a chase on their own patch and put the Kings 11 bowlers under pressure. But in terms of the odds, I just don't really see Mumbai as a 1.73 shot here. I know they've come off the back of beating Chennai, as I mentioned earlier, and they were impressive in that game, particularly Hardik Pandya and Kieran Pollard, who just went nuts towards the death of the Chennai bowling innings, and were hitting the ball out of the park with such regularity, as I said, that it kind of knocked the stuffing out of Chennai, and they didn't really recover from that. So there is respect for Mumbai on the market, but there always is a bit too much respect for Mumbai on the market because of that batting prowess. And it's not as if they don't have issues with their batting. They consistently picking Yuvraj Singh, who's basically just too old for this game now. It's a young man's game, IPL, and he is really struggling. He's slowing down Mumbai in the middle of an innings. I think he's played more dot balls this IPL than any other player in the middle of an innings. So basically, he's got to go. And they've got to bring Ishan Kishan in to bolster their middle order. Until they do that, I don't really see myself backing them at 1.73 around those sort of odds. 1.8 is the kind of mark I'd be looking to consider Mumbai. And as I said, there's a bit too much respect in the market for Mumbai because they're a big team, they're a big city team. I know they've got titles behind them, matching Chennai title for title, but they've got that batting issue. I respect Rohit Sharma, the opening batsman. He's a terrific player, but he doesn't have the same record in IPL as he does for India. He's not as destructive. So that's an issue. They've also got too many opening batsmen. They've got 3. So the balance isn't quite right there. And I think what I like about Kings is basically their price. I just think it should be a tiny little bit shorter because we know they can fast start with Rahul and Chris Gale, who can really put willow to leather and knock it out of the park and put bowlers under pressure. And there's quite a lot to like about their bowling unit. I think we've talked about Ankit Rajput before. Ravi Ashwin we've spoken about before because of his man-catting of Joss Buttler, but he is a real wily competitor and can tie teams down. Mohammad Shami is not so impressive. We'd rather he wouldn't be playing. We'd rather Rajput in the team instead. But they've got a good trio of overseas fast bowlers they can call on in Sam Curran, Hardisfield Joe, the South African, and AJ Thai. And Thai is probably one of the foremost franchise 2020 bowlers in the world. He's a top wicket taker in the IPL overall last season. And he can't get into this Kings 11 team at the moment because of what Sam Curran did with his hat-trick the other day. So they've got decent depth in terms of their 5 main picks, Kings 11, in their bowling unit. What they don't have is a 6th bowler. And they're just going with 5.
Yeah.
Sometime or other, Kings 11 are going to come unstuck by not having a 6th bowler to call on because 1 or maybe 2 of those 5 is going to go around the park and they won't have any options. They won't know what to do. They just have to keep bowling them. But having said that, I'm just not convinced on the prices. 1.73 Mumbai and Kings 11 are looking pretty solid. They come into the game with a defeat of Sunrisers where they bowled really well and they didn't blow them away in the chase. They had a bit of a wobble, but we always tend to look for good bowling performances as indicators of where we're going to put our money.
Yeah. All right. We have about 2 minutes left. So these are going to be quick questions and let's see if we can get some tips. So the first question is Mumbai Indians versus Kings Punjab. What is the best play for that right now?
Well, I've spoken about the odds there. I mean, I'm just not convinced on 1.73 Mumbai. I know it's a chaotic match odds market for this IPL. So if you're unsure about which way it's going to go and you're unsure about the impact of the toss, as I said, with Mumbai in a chase, they could go well. KL Rahul for top Kings 11 Punjab run scorer is a good bet. You can get 13-5, bet 365. And I can tell you for a fact, he is a smidge more than 2-1 on how often he actually wins in this market. Right. So look, what you've got 0.6 in your favour there as a chunk, and that is what we call an edge, and that is what it is all about in this game, finding that edge, finding that wrong price and saying to the bookmakers, I think you've got this one wrong, I think I've got it right, so I'm going to bet you. So Rahul's top score for Kings 11 is a solid wager, as you'll see.
I've got, all right. And very, very quickly, you said we're about halfway through. Right now, the Chennai Super Kings are the favourites, 4.5. Mumbai Indians, 5. Kolkata Knight Riders, 5.5. And Hyderabad Sunrisers, 7. Who gets your money right now?
Still Chennai. I'm hugely disappointed in Sunrisers. They're really losing their way at the moment. They're gonna let down a whole army of punters because they went off pre-tournament favourites.
Yeah, and one final thing to finish bottom. Obviously, the Royal Challengers Bangalore are not having a very good season. Would they get your money at this point?
No, because they'll be too short. I think we might see an upturn of fortunes in Royal Challengers Bangalore. Not much of one because they've lost six in a row, but they're going to get Australia players back and they're going to start sorting out their squad. If they basically start picking the right 11, they'll start to pick up. And I think Rajasthan are possibly a bet for finishing bottom, because they're going to lose all their overseas players, and that's really going to knock the stuffing out of them. Josh Butler is basically drives Rajasthan, everything they do, and he's going to be a really big miss when he goes away for a World Cup duty with England.
All right, wonderful stuff. That's Ed Hawkins at Cricket Betting. Give him a follow, and please come on over oddsmarket.com for our daily IPL cricket coverage. Ed Hawkins, a pleasure, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right, that was Ed Hawkins, and we now move over to NHL Betting. We've got Adam Booth on the line. Obviously, the playoffs start tomorrow. How exciting. 16 teams left. I love this tournament. I'm really excited. And I have to say, though, have never bet on it. Have always watched it. We spoke about this. I've got, Canadian husband, so he's kind of, into it. So it's on the telly. So I do enjoy it, though, I have to say, full of suspense. Yeah. And they meet up to 7 times, don't they? And by the sort of the second or the third, they really don't like each other. And it's quite gripping, really.
Well, I would even go a step further and say maybe after the first period, they already kind of despise each other. And especially because there's a few matchups this year that we've never seen before, at least with these rosters. But there's a few that we have, and some that we'll talk about today. They saw each other last year. We know that they're going to come in knowing how each other play. So, yeah, you got to have some action on it this year, Nat, especially with your husband. Does he like anybody at the moment?
Do you know, a very good question. I will ask him tonight over dinner. I'll say, who are you going for? I don't think he's invested. I think he would probably just pick his favorite. But I do see that Vancouver is not in. Vancouver is not playing. No, we did actually have. So we've got a really good friend who is in Las Vegas, and she got into backing the Vegas Golden Knights. I think it was last playoff. She was over in Costa Rica, and so we took her down to the beach, everything, and we were watching it down at the beach. And they became second or something, didn't they? I think that's
Vegas was like the Cinderella story last year. They were a brand new organization in Las Vegas' first professional sports team. The city obviously has the terrible terrorist attack right before the season starts. Everybody rallies around the team. The team surprises everybody in the league with their performance, and they go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. And it was like,
but they lost.
What?
I know.
Yeah, they lost in the end, but I still think. I mean, the thing is, I said in the article, if Vegas doesn't have that incredible inaugural season, we'd be talking about how good they are this year. I mean, they are a good team, and because the expectations weren't really even there last season, and they sort of surpassed everybody's analysis of the team, this year they've kind of gone under the radar, and yeah, we can talk about that one if you want. I guess whichever series you want to talk about, I'm happy to go into.
Listen, I am just the host here. You are the expert on this subject, so you lead the way. But I have to say, Vegas Golden Knights, they're priced at 17. Do you think that there is a chance that they could make the finals again?
There's always a chance, and given that I think they have more talent up front and maybe a bit more experience on their defensive core. I don't know. I don't think they're overall a better team. I think they have more potential, but I also think that last year they caught a lot of people off guard, and that was a strength of theirs. And sometimes we see in professional sports the team with their backs against the wall that everybody doubts sort of goes way further than we thought. And I think people are not underestimating Vegas. We saw it during the regular season. They still had a good season, but on the road, when Vegas came to town, people were ready for them. And Vegas is the only team in the playoffs this year with a losing road record. And they're starting on the road in San Jose against a team they beat last year in the playoffs. So I'm actually going against Vegas in this opening one. And it wasn't a play that I thought I'd make before looking at the numbers, but breaking down the series, I ended up going with the San Jose Sharks as a very slight favorite, because I think San Jose is a bit better on both ends of the ice this year. And I think the fact that they came into the playoffs in pretty poor form, they had very average, if not bad, goaltending during the year, adds value to them heading into the playoffs. That said, if they continue to get bad bad goaltending, they will still lose to Vegas. It doesn't matter that they're a bit undervalued. They can still definitely lose. So in the West, there are two series that I found the hardest to call. It was that series, San Jose and Vegas, and it was the St. Louis Blues Winnipeg Jets series. St. Louis Winnipeg, really, it's going to be on a nice edge which way that one goes. I mean, sure, one team could potentially sort of sweep or win in 4 or 5 games here, but I think that the way that they have very different strengths. I think it'll be a sort of one team wins, the other team wins, back and forth series all the way through. So those are the two series. I can understand plays for both sides. For me, it was just a matter of sort of taking maybe the slight favorite in both series, but honestly, I can completely see arguments for the other side.
So right now, Wednesday matches, you're taking Jets and Sharks on the money line or outright.
So I haven't actually made any game one bets yet. I've only made series bets, and so I'm on the Sharks and I'm on the St. Louis Blues for the series. Now, St. Louis starts in Winnipeg. Winnipeg is, I don't know, the city has rallied behind, a Canadian team that actually has potential to, go to the Stanley Cup Finals. It's something we don't often see. And they have the famous Winnipeg whiteout where the whole city wears white on game days. It's a really cool thing to see, and I hope you will check out a game or two if you have time, because it's the best time of year for hockey around the world. And in Nashville, they call it Smashville this time of year. They get really rowdy, and I expect... it's a great time to be a hockey fan.
I know, well, because I was talking with Sam just about before the show, actually, and I said that you were coming on. He's like, oh, it's just amazing. And apparently, like, Tampa Bay or something has been having a really good... And they're the favourites here, aren't they? Tampa Bay Lightning, 3.2, and really heavy favourites. And then Calgary Flames, they're 11. Would you say that there is any value left on backing Tampa Bay Lightning at 3.2? And who... So,
I didn't take Tampa to win the cup yet because I think the two series that they'll have. Okay, I gotta say I don't write off any teams. I think many teams have shots to beat the best, meaning Tampa or Calgary or Nashville, whoever you think is the best in each conference. I'm not writing off any team, but I do think Tampa has what it takes to get to the Eastern Conference Finals with little difficulty. Okay, that's what I'll say. Now, I think their toughest test will be in the Eastern Conference Finals because they'll face a hot team coming out of the Metropolitan, whether it's Pittsburgh or Washington, who beat them last year, or maybe an Islanders team potentially. I don't know. And then also the Stanley Cup Finals, which will be obviously the winner from the West. So I don't want to take Tampa to win the cup now. I think there's a chance they could go down 1-0 in a series or 2-1 in a series, and you might have a shot to then take them at a better price. So what I did was I took Tampa on the outright to win the Eastern Conference. I put 2 units on it. That's my sort of big stake on them on the outrights. I think they are not. I don't think they're overvalued, but again, in an era where any team can beat any team, it's really risky, I guess I'll say, to put all your eggs in one basket on one team.
Yeah, but you're putting 2 eggs on that team. Okay, interesting stuff.
That's true, right. But also, a great part of these series bets and these outrights is you can find places to hedge along the way as well. The other team that I took to win East was a long shot, New York Islanders. I took them at 11, just a third of a unit. So it's just a small stake, but I thought that they were undervalued on that one too. If they somehow win their opening series against Pittsburgh, we can look for other hedge opportunities if they go up in a second series. So you just gotta kind of be patient with how series develop. No series is over in 2 games or 1 game like we see in the NFL. So you can evaluate on a day-to-day basis how your outrights are doing.
Yeah. All right. So as we wrap up the show here, and before we speak with Russ, Premier League Darts Week 11. So right now you said you've made series bets and series bets only. What series bets have you taken?
Okay, so I have one on every single series. I do like to play high volume. I'm going to go through them really quick.
All right.
Just to try and cover it all. But you can read the articles. I've gone into great depth on the odds market articles. So in the East, I've got Tampa winning on the handicap -2.5, meaning that they'll beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-0 or 4-1. I've taken the New York Islanders to upset the Pittsburgh Penguins at 2.3. I've taken the Boston Bruins on the money line. No, sorry, I've taken them on the spread against the Toronto Maple Leafs, meaning they need to win 4-2, 4-1, or 4-0. And then the final pick was Washington Capitals money line against the Carolina Hurricanes, which I do think there is value on. So take a look at that one. In the West, as I mentioned, I'm on the San Jose Sharks money line and the St. Louis Blues money line as slight favorites. They're both between 1.8 and 1.9. I've taken the Calgary Flames as the top seed in the West to beat Colorado in at least 4-2 score. I just think they match up really well against Colorado, and provided they get the goaltending, Colorado will have very little answer for the Flames. And the final one in the West was the Nashville Predators to win at least by 2 games against Dallas. Now, Dallas has been a great hot team defensively coming into the final 20 games of the season. Loved how they played in their back end. Again, like Colorado, though, they have a great first line, and then they kind of struggle goal-scoring depth. So if Nashville ups their game and they play good on the defensive end, I do not think the Stars will have enough to take 3 games against them.
All right, awesome stuff. And like Adam said as well, he'll be writing his match bets as well. Head on over oddsmarket.com/hockey, tips hockey, and there you will find the full breakdowns. He will be back, obviously, to give his bets. But listen, best of luck. I'm really excited for it all to start tomorrow. All right,
yes.
Take care.
All right.
And best of luck. That was Adam Booth there. Lock-E QWERTY, if you want to give him a follow. Also, all of these parts of the video it's clipped, and underneath is details of how you can get hold of these people if you want to follow them on Twitter. But let us continue. Time is a-ticking, and I can hear someone. It's very noisy wherever he is. Russ, Premier League Darts Week 11. Where are you this time?
I'm at Leyton Orient versus Eastleigh in the National League. It's a massive game for Leyton Orient. This is their game in hand to go back top of the National League, to get them back to League One. They've just equalised, so it's Leyton Orient 1, Eastleigh 1.
That's nice. You ever stay still? You're just continuously darting around at different matches. I wouldn't mind swapping life for you with a week, just to see like what it's like. But you do get around a bit, don't you, Russ? And I think haven't you just come back from the States?
No, I'm going to the States actually on Friday, and then the week after, while I'm there, I'm at a sports betting conference, because obviously sports betting is going to open up in more states.
Yes.
So again, it's the area of expertise that I've worked in for over 10 years, and hopefully I can meet some like-minded people that are going to look to help sportsbook in the States, and I can offer my services.
There we go. And I hear as well, I've heard whispers around the office that I might be going to a few of these sports betting conferences next year. So I may just see you there, Russ.
You should do that. You'd be brilliant.
I know. Right, listen, Premier League Darts, Week 11. And let's have a quick look. I'm just going to bring up the odds here. Obviously, who do we have? Well, you're right. There we go. Michael Van Gerwen, 1.57. He's remained the favourite. Rob Cross, though, not too far behind. Is it between these two, or is it literally Van Gerwen's to lose at this point?
I think it probably is between these two. I think these two are probably the two best players at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, when it comes to finals night and the 4 players all go head to head, it's anyone's game at the O2. But usually, when it gets to the O2, that's when Michael Van Gerwen shows his true talent and really steps up in the semi-final, and then goes on and plays the final and wins. But I think Rob Cross this year, he's probably the value at the minute, because I think he will definitely get to finals night. And then, as I said, it's anyone's game. And if he wins his semi-final and plays Van Gerwen in the final, then again, that I think 4-5 to 1 is in the minute, that becomes a lot shorter. Probably just under 2 to 1, I would have thought.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, he's playing Peter Wright on Thursday. Not a bad price there, 1.83 for Rob Cross. Are you playing him?
Absolutely. 4-5, Rob Cross to beat Peter Wright. Rob Cross, I think 4 wins out of 5 the last 5 weeks, and Rob Cross is performing very well. Peter Wright is surviving in the Premier League because he's been drawing.
Yeah.
Of the 10 weeks so far, he's drawn 5 of them. But for me, as I've said in the column at Odds Market, I don't think Peter Wright will be able to stay with Rob Cross, as Rob Cross is throwing great darts and his checkouts are very good as well. So, yeah, I'm surprised it's not shorter, but 10-11's a play for Rob Cross to win.
Yeah, I like that. That's one of the ones that I'm liking at the moment as well, just based on Rob Cross's recent form. They're 1.83. Obviously, there's 4 matches, but the match with Michael van Gerwen, 1.38. Is there any other value in that match, or is that obviously one of the ones you're skipping?
I'm skipping that one. You could argue the only small piece of value would be some of the bookies do highest checkout, most 180s, and to win the match. If you combine that, you may get 1.9 or even money. So that could be a play if you really think Michael van Gerwen is going to beat Michael Smith comfortably, which I think he probably will.
Yeah, I think so as well. Any of the 2 other matches, price, Wade, are any of the matches that you're looking at for the draw? Because they've obviously got the higher price there. Or is this one going to be won by somebody?
James Wade, Daryl Gurney, I'm going to play the draw. They're both set on 11 points. James Wade is struggling at the minute. He started the Premier League season really well, and he's just shown a lot of inconsistency in the minute. 1 week he can be absolutely superb, and 1 week he can just not turn up. But Daryl Gurney, he's playing better of late, but in his hometown of Belfast last week, he got beat by Rob Cross. And obviously he'll need to start this one quite quickly. Otherwise, James Wade, if he's on form, could blow him away. However, I think this is probably the best of the 4 matches, the value to be a draw. So it's 7-2, Wade v Gurney. They're both set on 11 points. I think they'll both nick a point, and it'll be 7-all. So 7-2, the draw is a play here.
Yeah, 4.5 there in decimal. And anything with Gerwen, Price, and Mensah, Sulovic?
Yeah, Sulovic is in good form. 4 wins out of 5, 6-4 over Gerwen, Price. I think that's the play here.
Yeah.
Gerwen, Price, to his credit, played really well last week against Michael van Gerwen, and Price actually usually steps up against van Gerwen and gives him a really close game. But I just think Sulovic, over the 14 legs, will come out on top. He's throwing well, scoring a lot of 180s. His checkouts have been good, and I just think he'll grind Price down and get the job done. Sulovic is currently sitting in 3rd, and at the minute he's looking like he's going to get to finals night.
Yeah.
So, and I think he can beat Price. It'll be close, but I think he'll win. So yeah, 6-4. I think there's a bit of value there.
Nice. Yeah, there certainly is. And who do you think will finish in the top 4 this year?
Michael van Gerwen, Rob Cross, Mensah Sulovic, and I'll go with James Wade.
There we go.
To finish 4th. That 4th place is going to be tough, but I think Wade might just nick it.
Yeah. And right now, obviously, we broke down 3 of the 4 matches that take place on Thursday. Which one is your favourite? If somebody just wanted to dip their hands in here and take one Premier League darts bet.
Sure, I'll keep it simple. Rob Cross 4-5. Rob Cross 10-11, 1.9 to beat Peter Wright. Rob Cross is a much better player. He's in good form. And I'm convinced he'll get the job done. And it's not bad price as well.
Yeah, no, I know. It's a very nice price indeed. We're just going to start going to get Craig on the line in a second. Obviously, Russ, you're joining us for the Premier League Punter show tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We're back with a full set of Premier League this weekend. After, obviously, last weekend, there were some FA Cup matches and some cracking matches. Liverpool v Chelsea is huge. Can Chelsea turn up at a big game? Will Liverpool brush them aside? Obviously, Man United, I think, faced West Ham. Again, how many can Man United score? West Ham just obviously not playing well. And then obviously the big game for my team, Arsenal, on Monday night, challenging for a top 4. Will Watford have the hangover of the FA Cup semi-final? or can they perform well at home and Arsenal just stutter on the road?
Yeah. And actually, whilst I've got you on the
weekend.
line, I just thought, obviously, Champions League has just kicked off, and 3 minutes into both one. Liverpool, Porto, Tottenham versus Manchester City. Tottenham versus Manchester City. What are you
fancy
liking?
Spurs to win, and I think Spurs.
Really? No.
I think Spurs are the value. I just think new stadium, and the way Man City played against Brighton on the weekend, I think Spurs will just nick a win here. I hope they don't, because obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, but I just think they'll get the job done tonight. It's just a question of, can Man City score? That away goal is crucial, as we know, Champions League. So
can Man City score? What do you mean? Can they score? Of course.
This is Champions League. I think the atmosphere currently at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium will be buzzing, and I think the players will feel it as well. And I just think, because remember, Spurs beat Dortmund 3-0 in the Champions League. So
true.
I think they can put in a good performance tonight.
True. And I was thinking about you, and I was making my Liverpool-Porto bet. I went for Liverpool in the under 4.5 goals.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think last time they played, it was in Porto, the first leg. I think Liverpool won 5-0. Was that correct?
Was it?
I think it was last year or the year before. But yeah, I think Liverpool will win. Actually, they've just scored. I've just seen it flash up. That's 1 goal.
Oh,
I don't think that.
Oh, so you think it's going to be more? I took 2. I took Liverpool the under 4.5 goals and the over 2.5 goals, because I think there is going to be goals, but it's not going to be more than 5.
I've just seen it flash up. There you go. This is what we call a live show, right?
It's a live show, yeah. Russ, listen, I've got to let you go. I've got Craig on the line, and we are going to Good City. But listen, best of luck, obviously. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy where you are, because it looks wonderful. I think I can see a bottle of champagne behind you. Is that a bottle of champagne behind you? I can see on my...
Yes, yes, you're right. I'm actually running a half-time crossbar challenge with 3 fans on the pitch at half-time, so it should be good fun. If I can video it, I'll send it to you.
Do. All right, Russ. Cheers. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Cheers, Nat. Thank you. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, I had to sneak in those Champions League. Yes, there we go. Liverpool 1-0 up. All right. Now introducing Craig Edwards. We have got. We're going to preview the World Championship snooker and also US Masters in golf, both of which he's an expert in, and he is an ex-pro snooker player. So, hello. How are you doing?
Evening.
Evening.
I'm good, Natalie. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I like your new internet.
Yeah. Let's hope it's better.
Coming through crystal clear. Yes, it is. It is good. Before we start, obviously Champions League is. Do you bet on football?
Yeah, I've been known to bet on football. Alex has got me back betting on football now with his Alex specials and what have you. He's yeah. I do like to have the odd bet on football. Yeah. Definitely. I like to oppose Liverpool and Man United for my sins. So.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you should be opposing Liverpool in this match.
No, I'm not, luckily.
All right. Well, okay. Which one should we start? World Championship Qualifiers Snooker. So, first of all, do you see any upsets taking place this week?
Well, there's quite a few wild cards come from around the world. So there's a young Chinese lad playing Stuart Carrington, who's from my hometown. He's my colleague, actually. I know him quite well. We'll be interested to see how he plays against Stuart. And there's a couple of others. Brandon Sargent, who's just come off the Challenge Tour. I think he's playing Michael Holt. That'll be interesting. Young lad. And whether they can get to the Crucible or not, though, is another matter. 3 matches against experienced professionals, it would be a shock. So there will be shocks, but whether a long-priced guy gets to the Crucible that hasn't got there before, I would be surprised.
Yeah.
So.
And who do you predict at the moment to make it to the Crucible?
Well, the qualifying system seems to suit the older players. Previous champion Peter Ebdon, he He qualifies every year. Ken Doherty, the same. Tipped Ken Doherty at 7-1, having beaten Matt Williams last week in the China Open. So then you've got two other experienced players. One former world champion, Graham Dott. He's very good at qualifying, but he's in Stuart Carrington's section, and they are both good at qualifying. Stuart's been there for the last 5 years. Graham Dott's qualified every year. That's a tough section. Alan McManus, the commentator, he qualified 3 years ago and went on to the semi-final. He played well last week to make the quarterfinals in the China Open. So it does appear the long matches to suit the older players.
And why would you say that is?
Well, if you'd have said to me 25 years ago when I packed in playing, that would be the case. People were thinking it was going to become a young man's game. Ronnie O'Sullivan was just coming through. Stephen Hendry had changed the game, how it was played. Then Ronnie took it on to a new dimension. But now the game's kind of stagnated a little bit. Not so much young talent coming through. And, the older players have looked after themselves. And, unless the young lads coming through are very good, they don't get through.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll change a bit for the better soon. Some of these Chinese lads must get through at some stage. There's several that would fancy the chances this week. Zintong, not very good at pronouncing the names. Sangakan, Nopon Sangakam, he's a Thai. He's an excellent player, excellent break builder. If he qualified, he's got the class to go deep at the Crucible. He scores so heavily. And then there's Zhao Yu Long, who you've got to respect. Li Hang. I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 or 3 of them come through. If they start scoring heavily in the balls, the older players will wilt if they can keep their standard high.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And what right now on the outrights, who have you taken, or where do you think sort of presents some value?
Well, I backed Jack Lisowski last July at about 80-1. He's 50-1 now. Stuart Bingham I backed thinking he'd be in the easy half of the draw, and then with Neil Robertson winning last week, they play each other quite early in the easy half of the draw. That's now a tough match, so I'm going to look into it a bit more. There's one half that's very weak in comparison to the other half. In one quarter, they've got Ronnie O'Sullivan will play Judd Trump in the quarterfinal, so that's potentially the 2 best players playing in the quarterfinal. And then in the other half now, you've got Neil Robertson, who looks, at the moment, on current form, clear of all the other challengers. But he must run out of petrol at some point or other. He can't keep winning the matches day in, day out.
Try telling him that.
But he may keep it going for the World Championship. No one, it's would be silly to back against him. I think for years I've never considered Ronnie as he never plays that well in the World Championship. He's only won it 5 times in like 25 years, which is quite a poor return. 17 days at Sheffield doesn't suit him, or I've never thought it does. But he's still maturing. He's still maturing as a snooker player, and more so as a competitor and committing to the process. He's always had so much talent. He's never known what to do with it and to channel it. So he looks determined. He knows the clock is ticking. Approaching to his mid-40s, if he's to beat Stephen Hendry's 7 titles, he's got to win 3 more, 2 to equal it. He's well aware of that. And at some point, he will be too old soon. So he is. He looks more focused than ever.
He's only 40, mid-40s? He's not going to be old soon. He's got like, is it like 60s of the new midlife or whatever? Like,
well, probably. To be fair to Ronnie, he's so fit. He's now doing all these diet books. He runs miles. He writes his own rules any case. But yes, normally he'd already be too old. And but Ronnie could perhaps win it at 60 without actually playing another tournament all year.
Yeah.
So,
well, because he's quite a considerable favourite, 3.5 at Bet365. Then you've got Nhl Robertson 7, Dutram. You can get him at 7 as well. So in some bookies as well, 6, and then it goes to Mark Selby, odds of 11, and then Kieran Wilson 19, and then it just sort of drops from there, really.
Well, Mark Selby's a 3-time champion, but he cannot win close matches this season. Although he seems to be queuing well, he's obviously struggling slightly with his confidence. But at some point, he will win a couple of close matches, and then he will be a competitor again. So you definitely have to consider Mark Selby if you see him win a couple of matches. I did quite like Dave Gilbert in the easy quarter. I don't fancy Mark Williams I fancy Mark Williams to struggle. And they will play in the last 16. And Barry Hawkins, Kieran Wilson, both crucible specialists, to be fair, which can make a lot of difference. But they are both struggling as well. And David Gilbert's really impressed me this year. Really unlucky not to win the German Masters. And I think he has that little bit of class in his game that, he wasn't sure whether he was going to qualify for the top 16. He might have had to pre-qualify. So now he's qualified. It might be like a big sigh of relief. And, that just might free him up in his mind. And he might just go there and enjoy the experience. And we've seen that before. Stuart Bingham and Joe Johnson, when they've just gone and played their game, really just played attacking snooker, it puts the pressure on the other players. And, there is an advantage to being the underdog if you can just wield your game and just not bother with anything else, really. So I keep thinking about Dave Gilbert, but at the moment, the only two I've really advised is Jack Lisowski and Stuart Bingham.
All right.
I do think Jack Lisowski at some point has the class to come through a big tournament because he wins matches so easy. It takes nothing out of himself. He's like the Roger Federer and all the talented players. They win frames so quickly that the match is over and he's done nothing. He just, he's as fresh as a daisy, really. So, it's. But Ronnie will probably win it.
Yeah. Oh, you think? Oh, okay. Well, that would be cool. And okay, so we've written 2 articles for us now about the World Championship. One qualifying bets and the other one outrights. What are your favourite tips from both of those articles? Obviously, I'm going to put them both the links in the description of the clips of this video for you guys that want to check it out at home. But what bets do you really like right now?
In the match bets, I like Hamid Mir to win the highest break against Liam Highfield. Liam Highfield isn't a really prolific break builder, despite being a solid player. And our analysis of the market suggested it was nearly a coin flip. So we're getting 5-2 about Hamid Mir in that market. I quite like Sam Baird to qualify. He's got the toughest section. There's Sam Craigie, and I've tipped up Tom Ford as well out the same section. Sam Craigie being favourite has made for good prices for them players. So Sam Baird reached the last 16 of the World Championship. I think it was 2016, losing to the eventual champion Mark Selby 13-12. And that shows a certain amount of class and pedigree for the long frame formats. Mm-hmm. He starts as underdog in the first match against Robbie Williams. But, I've tipped him at 28-1 to qualify. It won't be an easy task, but he's played well second half of the season. And I do think players with the pedigree over long matches come back to do it year in and year out. So quite like that as an outsider to qualify. I did like David Grace to qualify. He's now back on tour, having fallen off tour a year ago. Once a UK semi-finalist, which again is over long matches, proved his pedigree, has been to the Crucible, qualified numerous times. Even last year when he was out of form, he won a match or two in this tournament. So I looked at him And when the initial 20 to 1 came out, that was a great bet. He's now about 12 to 1. Still a good bet. But the punters have latched onto that now. So, and then I think the match markets are covered. James Watanabe plays Anthony Hamilton in the first round. That's the most attractive first round. James Watanabe wants number 3 in the world, playing Anthony Hamilton, who won the German Masters 2 years ago. 2 players I know well that I've played against several times. And it just looks an attractive first round match. And I'll be interested. I've tipped James Watanabe at the prices, but it wouldn't surprise me if Anthony Hamilton came through that match. But I saw it as pretty much a coin flip, given that James Watanabe's beaten him twice already this season. So, I think that just about covers it. I think in that Sam Baird to qualify bit at 28, we also took Tom Ford at 12s. I'm taking the view that Sam Craig is a false favourite in that section, even though it's very, very tough. I nearly put up Robbie Williams, not the singer, but
I recognise that name.
He had a good chance at 8 to 1. And there's Marco Fu in that section as well, Hong Kong's Marco Fu. So it's like a group of death, but I've taken the outsider in Sam Baird and the one below him, Tom Ford.
All right, listen, we've got to move over now. We have to cut. We have to finish this segment, and we're moving over to US Masters 2019. If you do want to obviously read more of Craig's thoughts there, do head on over to Odds Market or simply check for the clips, and the link will be in there at some point, probably this evening or tomorrow morning. All right, so US Masters 2019 here. It is the first major of the year at Augusta, and Rory McIlroy is the favourite.
Yeah.
Do you like him as the favourite?
I never bet him. His price always feels too short. He's won the Players' Championship a couple of weeks ago, so I would not be surprised to see him win here. But at 7-8 to 1, he's never won here yet, and he has come here in better form previously. So I've looked elsewhere. Even though he's won plenty of major titles, he's never won at Augusta. So maybe there is a lot of pressure on him at Augusta.
But he hasn't won a major since 2014. So it's kind of seems like quite a short price on somebody who, hasn't won for a while.
You're absolutely right, Natalie, and that's how I look at it. And Rory McIlroy was a short price when he turned professional. He was already opening up at 25 to 1 because everyone had heard about him. I've never been able to win a penny on him because he's always been such a short price. But you're right. When he hasn't won a major for that long, there's no point supporting him at that price. He might win, but there's plenty more value down the field. Yeah.
Well, listen, let's now talk about Tiger Woods. Should we take him seriously as a contender to win?
Definitely. His whole year, probably these last 6-9 months would have been geared around this week. He won the Tour Championship at the end of last season. You can see he walks gingerly with his back. His back condition must be very serious. And he has to schedule his practice around it, his whole life. I noticed Nick Faldo tweeted that he was last off the course practicing the other day. And he's like Ronnie O'Sullivan. He knows the clock is ticking on him. And, of course, he's got these injuries at the back of his mind, knowing that if it goes again, he may never play again, probably. So I expect him to be determined. And the one thing at Augusta is previous champions come back and win, no matter their age. Jack Nicklaus came back at 46 and won when people had counted him out for years. Nick Faldo came back and won 10 years later his third Masters title. Ben Crenshaw, it was a great putter, not the greatest of players, but he had an affinity for the place. And he came back years later. I think his coach had just died the previous weekend, and it was strange things happen at the Masters. It always happens in the back nine. Greg Norman couldn't win the Masters. Larry Mize chipped in against him. Nick Faldo came from 5-6 shots behind in the final round, and well, Greg Norman, for all his class, could never win at the Masters. He was runner-up, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, yeah. So who right now, and also whose game is suited to Augusta?
Well, the players in general that are suited are the ones that can hit the ball long and accurate. It used to be with a draw, and then they've got to, their iron play's got to be precise so that they are putting on from the right part of the greens. The greens are like glass, and when you start putting from the wrong part of the green, you take bogey, double bogey, and your tournament's gone. So you need players really that can keep it accurate and then be able to, have the nerve on the greens. So long players, I like Bubba Watson, Phil Mickelson. Mickelson's won it 3 times. He's 48. I mean, I never thought we'd be talking about people in the 40s as favourites, but he could win at the Masters. He loves it, the back nine on a Sunday. His endorphins and his biorhythms will be perfect coming down the stretch. So I really give him a chance of one last Masters. Bubba Watson's won twice here. He's long.
He is long, yeah. 31 there, about 365.
Yeah, I've been betting for months on him from about 50 to 1 downwards because he's been going under the radar, actually playing quite consistently for Bubba. Normally, you're in the nut house when you back Bubba. You don't know what you're going to get. But this year, he's been really quite consistent. And you've got to believe his game's there to contend, definitely to contend. And Bubba wins all the same tournaments. He doesn't, he's won the Genesis 3 times. The tournament at River Highlands, the Great Hartford, it used to be called. He's won that 3 times. So the Masters to win here for a 3rd time would be no surprise to me come Sunday night if Bubba won.
Yeah. What about one interesting market here is first round leader. And you've really got, Rory's 15 there, Dustin Johnson 19, Justin Rose 23, Tiger Woods 23. These are really long odds, aren't they? I'm sort of used to, I'm a football bettor myself, and these are really long. I
like longer odds in the first round leader market because normally dead heat rules affect your place payout. So Jordan Spieth has won 3 times. He's only been coming here 6 years. He's won the market 3 times. Justin Rose has won the market 3 times. Now, he's been coming probably 20 years, but that's still an exceptional effort. I've tipped Charlie Hoffman, who's only these latter years, his career has been good enough to get here, but
Charlie
on
Hoffman,
the main
41.
tour, Charlie Hoffman, yeah. And when I first backed him myself on Friday, he was 100 to 1. I think he's now 40 to 1 because his first round leader record on the PGA Tour and at the Masters, he's been placed 3 times in the last 5 years, won it once, came a good second last week in the Texas Open, really with an impressive display of long ball striking, accurate striking, which will hold him in good stead for Augusta this week. The price has gone a bit now. Strangely enough, there's a couple of outsiders that you could have a pound each way for a bit of fun on. Mike Weir, previous champion.
That's what I was going to say at these prices. So who basically have you put money on right now? And I'm guessing what, 10 quid on each player, and something's going to come back.
Well, yes. I've actually, the biggest price player I backed is Mike Weir at 400 to 1 each way. A previous champion. I backed Charlie Hoffman. I think I backed Vijay Singh and Trevor Immelman, both at 250 to 1. Spieth has been playing well. Not playing well, he's been playing very erratically, but he has been starting a lot of tournaments well, so he could well win the market. But I did decide to overlook him. But I wouldn't put anyone off having a tenner on Jordan Spieth to win first round leader. He's just... the place lights him up like one of the old great champions, Seve Ballesteros, it used to. He can hit it all over. It can be on the road, anywhere. But he's quite a magical player, Jordan Spieth, in his own right. Even though he's in quite a rut of form, it wouldn't surprise me if he starts fast this week. So,
all right. Any other bets that we can take right now? Any other players or any other markets?
I did advise on my column. The player I've been thinking of here for a long time is a Dane, Lucas Bjerregaard or something like that. And the last two European Masters champions, Sergio Garcia and Danny Willett, have a certain affinity for Kronzer in the Swiss Alps. Now, that course really doesn't suit long hitters. It suits accurate players. But both are long hitters. Now, one guy that's been playing well there the last few years is this Dane, Lucas Bjerregaard. And he comes here. Last week, he had a nightmare at the Texas Open and missed the cut. But the week before, he beat Tiger Woods in the quarterfinals of the World Match Play and lost in the semi-finals. It's his debut at Augusta, but he hits the ball really long. There's no one on the European Tour hits it longer. So if he can get it round Kronzer, he can come here and, he could spring a shock. So I've put him up in the top European market at 66 to 1, 70 to 1 each way. Just to keep the stakes small because he's got to get over last week where, for whatever reason, he was poor. But the week before, beating Tiger Woods, making the semi-finals, it could just be a blip. And
or a confidence booster.
Or what? Sorry, Natalie.
And a confidence booster, I can imagine, beating Tiger Woods and coming in here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So beating Tiger Woods in high-profile match will have boosted his confidence. I think he can easily write off last week. And there's nothing more high-profile than the Masters. So if he gets a good start, I could see him contending for the tournament at even 175, 200 to 1. But I chose the top European market because I'm not convinced the European's going to win the tournament this year. We look a bit light on the ground, even though the Europeans have a great record in the Masters. I've got a feeling that the Americans are just out in force this week. You've got the three we've mentioned. You've got Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka was phenomenal last season. He should be suited to Augusta. He won 2 majors last season. His game should be perfect for Augusta, but he's been a little bit erratic lately. Bryson DeChambeau has just been a winning machine and has showed potential at Augusta previously. So that's on top of the 3 that I've just tipped. So I can't see a European winning. Well, so just stick to the market.
Yeah, and what I can see here, not the of all the odds that we've been talking about, these ones are the less tasty, I suppose. Nationality of winner. We've got non-USA 1.8 or USA priced 2 with Bet365. Not going to yield a massive return compared to your 403 odds, but
I wouldn't put anyone off back in the USA to win this time. I mean, it's not for me, but
I can imagine it's probably not very tempting at all. You're like, what are those tiny little odds there? But could be a good little bet to play. Listen, Greg, I've got to let you go. We've got to wrap up the show. It's been an almighty pleasure, and like I said, please go find Craig's articles over on oddsmarket.com. Also, give him a follow. It is Edwards Tips _. Is that right? That's your Twitter handle?
That's it, Natalie. Yeah, thank you.
Memory serves correct. All right. Great stuff. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And we're going to get back to the Champions League. And I'll speak to you soon, Craig. Take care.
Yeah, good night, Natalie. Thank you.
There we go, wrapping the show up. Thank you very much, guys. And Liverpool lead 2-0 in 32 minutes. Tottenham and Manchester City 0-0. I'm going to go back to the games there. Better luck. And tomorrow, Premier League punters over at Sportsbook Review at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. See you there. Take care. Bye-bye.